All right, good evening, Leandro. Thanks for being here on time. As always, we're going to start working, all right? How do you feel today? Is everything all right?
Everything all right.
Great, that's good to know. Thanks for letting me know. You're going to tell
Mhm.
me, please, if you can hear me without any problems. I was having some, well, inconveniences with my internet connection, but I think it's working without problems now. Just let me know in case you have any trouble by hearing what I'm saying because of my
Mhm.
connection, all right? Okay, good.
Okay.
So let's finish, please, what we got. Remember that everything is there on Pearson. We have to finish everything today, right? You have to finish everything on Pearson and, well, in terms of the assignments and the tests. And I also have to finish the lessons because tomorrow we're going to start with the next course that is going to be A9. All right, we're just going to join a new course on Pearson, a new course on Google Classroom, and we're going to keep working the same way, but we need to finish the course. So to do it, we have two things to do. First, we're going to finish this very, I think, very easy lesson for you, as you showed me, that is embedded questions. Okay, so what do you remember about embedded questions? We worked this yesterday.
Mm. And the embedded questions is one question inside another question for being more polite.
Correct, that is correct. One question inside another question to be more polite. Very good. Now, I only have one question. Can we only use one question inside another question, or can we also use one question inside a statement that is a normal sentence?
Mm,
What do you say?
in a statement
Yes, correct. We can also use it in a statement,
also.
and that's the
Mhm.
last part we are going to do today. All right, so we know how to use it in questions, Leandro, but you are going to use one of these expressions. All right, so let's read this slide, please, to understand what we're going to do.
Okay. And to begin the embedded question, here are some examples of verbs that we often use with embedded questions. Wonder. I wonder why she said that. No, they don't know what they are doing. Remember, we don't remember where the house is. Be sure. I'm not sure when we're going to arrive. Find out. Let's find out what time the show starts. Think about. She's thinking about how she's going to do it. Forget. I've forgotten why I started this.
Perfect, thank you. Now, if I ask you the following, let's do this exercise. These are embedded questions, right? Why? Because there's a question that is embedded, that is put together next to a statement in this case, right? So what is in bold is a statement. What is, well, normal, right, font is the question. So what is the real question here? This question is in a embedded question, so what is the real question in why she said that, Eleandro? What do you say? What is the question without being embedded? This one
Um,
over here.
why she said that?
Exactly here, that, but that's embedded, right? If you want to ask the real question, what is the real question for that one? Remember that you have to make some changes.
Um, why said she that?
Close. Remember that when it's in past, you have to use one auxiliary, right? This is simple past. What is the auxiliary for the simple past?
Did?
Correct. Remember that in questions and in
Okay.
negative sentences, you always use it, right? So one more time, then what is the real question for why she said that?
Why did she say that?
Exactly. And you also change set to base form, right? Only say. Good. What about this one? What is the real question here?
What did they are doing?
Close, but remember here, actually, this is present, right? This is not past because it's
Okay.
they are doing, right? So what is that? That's the present continuous, right? So if it's the present continuous, you don't need, okay, this is important. If you have the verb to be, you don't need an auxiliary. Okay, so here you
Okay.
don't need any auxiliary, only you need to invert. So how would it be?
What are they doing?
Correct.
Okay.
Very well. This one over here.
Where is the house?
Correct. The verb to be only inversion. Very well. This one also very easy.
Uh, where are where when are we going to arrive?
Perfect. This one, be careful with this one because you don't have the verb to be. So here you need an auxiliary for the simple present, right? Because this is present. Starts is present. So what do you do here?
Uh, what time did it start the show?
Close, but remember, did is only for past. In this case,
Uh,
this is present. What are the two auxiliaries for present?
do
Do, exactly, and the variation does, right? Do
does.
and does.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that you use do with I, we, you, they, do, and you use does with third person, right? He, she, it, does. So here,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do then? You need to invert, use the auxiliary, and you need to decide if you need do or does.
What time does it start the show?
Close, but first is going to be the auxiliary, then the subject, and then the verb, right? So what time does the show start?
Okay. What
Right?
time
The
does the
verb is
show
going to be
start?
at the end because very well.
Okay.
Correct. And two more, please. Okay, these two. What about this one? This one over here, and the last second part is here.
Mm, how is she going to do it?
Perfect. And the last one, this one, please.
Um, why are you start this? Why did I start this? Started this?
Good, but instead of started, only the base form, right? Because you need the base form and you
Okay.
used it. Perfect. Why did I start this? Right? Great.
Mhm.
Okay, so again, this is a good exercise because if you analyze, you need to know when you have to use auxiliaries and when you don't use auxiliaries. All right, and that is very important here. So let's work, please, on something to finish with this lesson. And it's going to be one more time a writing exercise. All right, very simple, but sorry, it's not that one. Here, the usual thing we're going to do, and we're going to write 4 examples, all right, using this one. But you're going to do the following. So I'm going to give you more time, but the link is in the chat. This is what you're going to do, all right? I'm going to show you. So first, you are going to write a question, okay? First, only a question. For example, where did you go? Okay, that very simple one. Okay, where did you go? Then down below, you're going to write the embedded question with the words that I'm going to show you. Okay, so I wonder, okay, I wonder where you went. Here you need to end with a period. And the same rule, remember, for yes, no questions. Do you like it? And the embedded question would be, I don't know. That's the first part. If
If
you exactly like it, right? And here we don't use do, just that one. All right, so this is what you have to do. This is one example, right? That's example number 1, and this is example number 2. All right, so For examples like that, please, Leandro, and try to use again different tenses. Try to make one in present, one in past, one in future, and the fourth one in whatever tense you want. Okay, the fourth one is up to you. So let's do it, please. And we check in, let's say, 5 minutes. If you finish before, you also let me know. Okay, and
Okay.
these are the expressions you have to use, please. One with wonder could be, one with no. So you select four different expressions.
I finish.
Okay, great. Let's take a look at that. And with that, we're going to finish this lesson and we go to the last one. So let's read, please, your examples, Leandro.
Okay, what time is it? I don't know what time it is. And what did you do yesterday? I'm not sure what you did yesterday. Where will you cook tomorrow? He's thinking about where will you cook tomorrow. Where are you? I've forgotten where you are.
Okay, great. Very good. Only one detail, all right? In the future, remember that you need to invert, right? That's the only thing. So it's going to be where you will cook,
Where you
right?
will.
Because it's going to
Okay.
be subject, then will is the auxiliary, and then cook is the verb, right? So here, that's the only thing. I'm going to add it here. So where you will cook tomorrow. That's great. Okay, everything else I think is working very good, Leandro. So with that, actually, we're finishing this lesson. I don't know if you have specific questions about embedded questions. You know the rules here. In case you have questions, you have the formula and you have extra exercises, right, for you to practice. So let me know, please, if you have questions or comments before going to the last lesson.
No, I don't have questions.
All right, great. So let's finish this up, all right, the course, by learning about indefinite pronouns. Let me be sure that this is the last one for you. And yes, it is indefinite pronouns. So we're not going to have an introduction there. We're going to go directly to this chart over here. All right, so these are the indefinite pronouns now. I'm sure that you used this before. You have anybody, everybody, nobody, somebody, and so on. All right, but let's try to understand this together. For example, if you notice, right, you have a difference. Here you have any, and all of them are with any. Every, all of them are with every. No, and all of them are with no. And some, and all of them are with some. Right, so you have any, every, no, and some. So what do you think is the difference between these four different prefixes? I mean, when do you say nobody? When do you say everybody? When do you say nobody? And when do you say somebody? What do you say? What do you believe?
With any is for one person or and something like that. Every is for all of them. And no is for nothing, for no person. And some is for a few persons. Or yes, persons.
Okay, we're close. Only this one. I think you're correct. Every involves everybody. No, no people there. Some, right? Some people, as you're saying, right? A few. I believe it's good. Just this one, right? Any is also going to mean sometimes nobody. Okay, so both are going to mean no one, but it depends on the context. Okay, it depends on the context. So before going there, one more question. Which ones do you use for affirmative statements and which ones do you use for negative statements? What do you say?
Anybody is for positive statements and nobody for negative.
Okay, we're going to see that. And what about everybody and somebody?
Everybody is for positive and somebody for negative.
Okay, so if we analyze, you're right with two. I believe you're right with two of them. It's going to work like that. Okay, actually, all of them are going to work in affirmative statements. Okay, but the meaning of this one is negative. This is a special. All right, so I'm going to use a different color. So the three of them work in affirmative statements, but the meaning of no is negative. The only one that is going to work in negative statements is going to be any. All right, now let's try to do something. And again, before going to the lesson, how do you say this? I'm going to say something in Spanish and you're going to tell me this in English, all right? And this is very common, right? You're with your friends and you ask if a friend likes someone, right? I'm using there someone. So how do you say no me gusta nadie? How do you say that in English?
I don't like anybody.
Very good. I don't like anybody. Now, if I ask you to use nobody, remember that you use nobody in affirmative statements. So how do you say no me gusta nadie and using nobody?
Um, I don't like nobody.
I like nobody. Exactly.
I,
Very well.
I like
Uh-huh.
nobody. Okay.
Exactly. It's weird, but it has to be affirmative. If it's not affirmative, it's going to be incorrect. Okay, so I don't like anybody and I like nobody. They mean the same. Okay, they have the same meaning. It's just that nobody has to be in an affirmative sentence because it has already a negative meaning. All right, so with that in mind, let's start working, please. And we're going to go to the first part, the definition. Let's read this one, please.
Okay, and definition. We use indefinite pronouns to refer to people or things without saying exactly who or what they are. We use pronouns ending in body or one for people and pronouns ending in things for things.
Right? Very easy, right? Body and one for people, thing for things. That's something that we know, but we need to identify when it's a good idea to use some of them. As you can see here, you can use indefinite pronouns as subjects and as objects, right? That they means they can be before the subject or, sorry, before the verb or after the verb. So let's read these examples, please.
Okay, examples. Everybody enjoyed the concert. I opened the door, but there was no one at home. It was a very clear day. We could see everything.
All
We
right,
could,
good. Good.
sorry.
So
Could.
this is going to be how you use it, but we're not going to write examples yet. Or actually, we're going to write a paragraph. But before that one, let's learn about the rules. This is the first rule. All right, I'm going to read it. You're going to read examples. It says you have to conjugate these words as if they were singular. All right, that's different from Spanish. In Spanish, you say todos van a la fiesta, right? But in English, you say todos va a la fiesta. All right, so you have to conjugate this as if it was singular. All right, you don't say everybody were, you have to say everybody was or everybody loves because we conjugate that as singular. So let's read those two examples, please.
Okay, everybody loves Sally. Everything was ready for the party.
Okay, there you go, right? So the first rule, singular. Now, this is interesting. Even if you conjugate them as singular, when you talk about that one more time, the conjugation is going to be plural. All right. So the first time you mention that is singular, but the second time you're going to mention that, you're going to use a plural pronoun. So you're going to say they. Okay. So let's read those two examples, please.
Okay, everybody enjoyed the concert. They stood up and clapped. I will say somebody that dinner is ready. They have been waiting a long time.
Good, right? So as you can see, the first time you talk about everybody, we suppose that it's singular, but the second time you talk about everybody, you don't say that, you say they. The same with somebody, right? You say they, even though you conjugate that as singular. And also the possessive, okay? This is interesting. You can say his or her, but my recommendation, Pearson says that it's better to say this one, but in many cases, all right, in international tests and in speaking, this is very common. There, all right? So when you want to talk about possession of something indefinite, you can use plural, or you can simply use his or her, but you are kind of wasting some time if you say that, okay? There is going to be more than enough. So what about the examples? Let's read them out, please.
Um, everyone knows what's his or her task. Everyone knows what's their task.
Exactly. All right. So one more time, the second one is more common. It feels more natural. Everyone knows what's their task. Okay, so one more time, you conjugate them as plural, as singular, but the second time you mention them is plural, and the possessive that you use is plural. Okay, so that's the third rule, and that's, I think, the most important one. Now, these are negative clauses, but before that, all right, before that, let's use this rule, please.
Okay.
Remember, they have to be conjugated in singular, they have to be mentioned as plural the second time, and they have to be mentioned in plural when you use possessive. All right? And we're going to do something that is going to be a short paragraph. You're going to tell me a story, okay? But try to tell me a complete story that has a beginning and that has an end. All right? It can be about whatever you want, but you're going to use, I'm going to give you the list over here, all right? You're going to use at least 4 words, okay? 4 words. It means you're going to use one word from this column, right? One word from this column, one from this column, and one from this column, okay? In any time that you want. And that's the only thing. Remember the rules about the conjugation and everything is going to be good. So I don't know if you have any questions, Leandro. It's going to be a paragraph. It means, one more time, a minimum of 5 lines or complete sentences. And you have to try to connect your ideas, okay? It needs to feel that it's a story that has, one more time, a beginning and a conclusion or a short end in just 5 complete ideas, or you can use more. But you're going to use 6 minutes to work on that. So I don't know if you have any questions about that, Leandro.
No, I don't have questions.
Okay, let's do it then, please. We're going to have 6 minutes. Let's write a story and let's use one word per column, plus applying all the rules. So let's start the time.
I finished.
Good. So it's also the 6 minutes, so that's great. Let's take a look at what you got so that we can go to the next part to be finishing and see the last details. So I'm over here. I believe you have it here. So let's read first what you got, please, Leandro.
Okay, once upon a time when anybody likes the reggaeton, everybody says that musical genre was so bad and the songs didn't have contents. But over the years, these songs reached all the records of the industry, and nobody can say that music is bad. This change is something real and mark the way of what sells in the musical industry.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Leandro. Good. We have a good structure here. There are a few details. I have one question at the beginning. Here, how do you say this? This is great, all right? This is a good way to start the story, right? It's very like fairy tales, but it's good and it's great that you practice with that. But here, what do you mean when you say this? When anybody likes the reggaeton, you want to say cuando nadie, you want to say that one, like nadie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a rule actually, that's the rule that we didn't see yet. That is this one over here. Okay, but so you didn't know that one, so it's not a mistake. It's this one, that in negative clauses, you're going to be using nobody. You're not
Mm.
going to use any when it's at the beginning of the clause. And remember that any can only mean nadie when it's in a negative sentence. But nobody is going to mean that being in affirmative sentences, right? So if you analyze, your sentence is affirmative. So it has to be nobody, all right? So it's going to be nobody likes, and this one with a double T over there, good. Okay, so good. Once upon a time when nobody likes reggaeton, and it can be just directly reggaeton, right? Not the reggaeton, just reggaeton as it is over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the beginning. The rule is going to be you have two introductions here, Leandro. Once upon a time, the first introduction, when nobody likes reggaeton, that's the second part of your introduction. Now you're going to continue with a comma over here because this is only an introduction, right? This is not a full idea. You need something to complement this idea. That's why this is not complete. This is a clause when nobody likes reggaeton that needs a second part. All right. So once upon a time when nobody likes reggaeton, everybody says that musical or that this musical genre was so bad, right? Or you can also still use present, right? So that this musical, right, genre that you want to say here was so bad, and the songs, right? So here this is present, so it's a good idea that perhaps you can still use present over here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so everybody says that this musical genre is so bad and the songs didn't have content. Here, instead of contents, because contents is going to be something more concrete, you're going to see content in general, like abstract. All right, so it's going to be just content over here. So, and the songs didn't have. So here we are going to use one more comma over here. Why? Because you have another complete idea. The songs didn't have content. All right. But over the years, so this is a very long idea. All right. There's not an end. You are giving like a long introduction, and it's not bad. It's good. But that's why we have a lot of commas. So you have once upon a time when nobody likes reggaeton, and actually here I have only one observation. When you say once upon a time, usually is when you're going to say everything in past and that happened, right? But you say when nobody likes reggaeton, so perhaps you can use, and we can make that change, everything in past if you're going to use this one. All right, so you can say once upon a time when nobody liked reggaeton, everybody said that this musical genre was so bad and the songs didn't have content, right? So I believe that the best idea here is to change the verbs because of once upon a time and because this conjugation that you have here. I think it's better to make it in past. Okay, so the first part is going to be in past. So let's do that. So when nobody liked reggaeton, everybody said that this musical genre was, now we're going to go back to what you said, right? Was so bad and the
Was.
songs didn't have content. But over the years, right, everybody said and that these songs didn't have content. Okay, so here we're going to do something. As we have a lot of commas, that's also something you're going to see. Instead of but, you're going to use something stronger. And in order not to use a comma, you're going to use semicolon, and instead of but, you're going to say however. Okay,
However.
however, over the years, exactly. Now, if you want to say these songs, right, what is the plural of this? Is the same pronunciation, but you need to change that for ESE, this, right, with ESE. So these songs reached all the records of the industry, right? And nobody, this is going to be together, right? And here was the suggestion, or in the industry, all right. Here you need another comma, one more time. Why? Because this is one complete idea. This song, subject, reached, verb, all the records, complement. And here you have one more time. Subject, nobody, the verb can say the complement that. Okay, so that's why you need one more comma. So a nobody can say that this music is bad. This change, now this is the end of your idea because you have two complete ideas. So here you're going to need either a period or a semicolon. Okay, so you can use a period. This, right? This change, all right, is something that real, is something real. And remember, this change is singular, so is, and marks is going to be like with S.
Yes.
Okay, exactly. And marks, or even you can say and sets. It's similar in that situation. All right. Sorry. Okay, and sets the way uh, of what sells in the musical industry. Okay, of what sells. So you say that this right tendency is going to decide, or actually is going to set the way of what is going to sell and what is not going to sell, right? Okay, so here the way for what my recommendation would be, instead of that one, they want to take that away, but I would say for in that situation. Okay, the way for what sells in the musical industry and what doesn't. Okay, to clarify that that's going to be very like uh, remarkable and to put emphasis on that idea. But that's it. I believe it's good. I want to know if you have any questions and if you were able to see why the first part is better to have it in past and the second part in present in most of the cases, or keep in past. I don't know if you have questions about those details and about these commas or punctuation marks, Leandro. Let me know, please.
No, I don't have questions.
All right, good. So let's keep working. We have just a couple more things to see. And one of them is that mistake that I told you. When you want to say something negative, remember, and you don't use a negative idea, and usually when you use the idea at the beginning, it has to be nobody instead of anybody. Okay, it's incorrect if we say anybody didn't come. It has to be nobody came. All right, so we already saw that one as I was making the correction. So that's the thing. Okay, in negative clauses, let's use nobody instead of anybody at the beginning of the idea with affirmative sentences. All right, and with this one, I believe we don't have problems. If you have questions, let me know. Let's read this rule that is related to that one, Leandro.
Okay, we do not use another negative in a clause with nobody, no one, or nothing. Nobody came. Not nobody didn't come. And nothing happened. Not nothing didn't happen.
Exactly. Now, there's one thing, and it's interesting, all right? If you say anything could happen, that means lo que sea, right? Anything. So if you use anything at the beginning, is not going to mean nadie or nada. It's going to mean lo que sea. Right? You can say also anyone can come to the party. That means any person, right? It doesn't matter who, but any person, any type of people, right, can come to the party. Okay, so that's going to be the big difference. Nobody and nothing are always going to be negative, but anybody and anyone is only going to be negative if the context is negative. All right, that's very important. Now, every, you know the meaning of every, but just to practice, please, Leandro, I'm going to read the first part and you the examples. A pronoun with every includes the idea of all the people or all the objects. Let's read this one, please.
Everybody, everyone should go to the party. She wants to buy everything in the store.
Okay, that's very simple, right? I believe that everybody is very simple because you don't have like things that make it different. You only have to be careful with any and no. Okay, those can be confusing. The meaning can be different, and you have to be sure when to use that and when not to use it, right? And some that is also, I believe, easy, usually in affirmative ideas. Let's read also this one, please.
Okay. We can use some in affirmative sentence and questions when they are offers or we know the answer. There is someone in the park. Would you like something to eat?
Good, right? So affirmative and questions. That's also, I believe, not that hard because it doesn't have some variations. It's just as direct as you see it without any type of variation, as I said. And any, this can be a little bit tricky. So let's read about any, please.
Okay. Any very unspecific. We can use any in negative sentence and questions in general. We don't know the answer. And we have to use plural. And there isn't anyone in the park. And does anybody know where the park is?
Okay, thank you very much. And again, right, negative or questions in this case that we didn't see that are real questions when we don't know the answer. And where is a little bit special just for location, but it applies to the same, right? It says we can use somewhere, anywhere, nowhere, right? In the same way we use the previous ones, but when we want to talk about places, right? It's very simple. If you want to talk about a place that is indefinite, use where. So let's read these three examples, please, to be finishing the last part.
Okay, I want to live somewhere near the city. I want to travel everywhere. I don't want to go anywhere. I have nowhere else to go.
There you go, right? So it's the same logic. If you analyze, if you want to use anywhere, the sentence is negative. If you use nowhere, the sentence is affirmative. And for the rest of them, it's also affirmative, right? So the three of them are affirmative, any, every, some. Sorry, yes, no, every, and some. Sorry, those. And any is the only one that is in a negative idea, all right? And that's going to be the thing. So here we finish with that, but we're going to have a final practice just by having a short conversation using these words. But before having that practice, because we can also use this time for something different, I want to know if you have questions in general. Remember that today we're finishing this course, I mean A8, and tomorrow we start with A9. It means it's going to be a different, right, course on Pearson, a different course on Google Classroom, different contents, and so on, right? Also the score. So all the first part is going to have only one score, right? And with what you do today, your assignments and your final test, I'm going to have the final score, and I have to send that to management. All right, and from tomorrow it starts everything from zero, right? One more time. So it's important that today being the last class, Alejandro, you tell me if you have questions about well, about all these first part of the course. Let me know, please, questions or comments.
No, in general, I don't have questions. I think I need to practice. I think with read the slides and make the practice of the links or these things, but I don't have questions.
Okay, good. That's great, right? So mainly
Mhm.
you need just to reinforce, right? To remember these
Mhm.
details and to be sure that you have that knowledge. Okay, that's good to know. So it means that now I can have this last practice with you. It's going to be very short. If we finish before, we finish before. So let's try to use these words for some ideas. For example, is there someone that you know? I'm going to ask you this question. Is there someone that you know that has a very expensive car?
No, I don't know anybody with
Good.
a expensive car.
Very great. So with
Okay.
an expensive car, right? Great. So is there, right, anywhere that you would like to go? Let's say we are no, we just started the year. Okay, let's say on the mid-year vacations. Is there anywhere you would like to go on these mid-year vacations on June, July?
Um, I like to go to Pisa.
Okay, good,
Mhm.
very well. And now this is going to be more general, like a real question with any. All right. Do you, let's say, yes, do you want to do anything in specific? All right. Do you want to do anything in specific this weekend?
Um, no, I don't have to do nothing in specific. Anything
Or
specific?
exactly. Or you can
Okay.
say that, but in affirmative, right? I have to do nothing in specific, right? And
Mhm.
it's going to be the same. Good. Now, questions are usually hard to formulate. So that's why to finish today, let's try to do the same with me. Try to ask, please, at least 3 questions to me and try to use 3 different words from this chart. Okay, so what are the 3 questions that you can ask? Try to use these words over here.
Um, okay. Do um do you have anybody? Uh, do you know everybody? Anybody? Um, and that you consider a best friend?
Great. It's a great question. And I can say, yes, I have someone, right? I have someone that I consider a best friend. Good. Great. That was a great question. Very well formulated. 2 more, please.
Okay. Do you think somebody in the country um, um, let's make the um, cure of the cancer? I don't know.
Okay, let's try to refer. I think it's an interesting question. Let's try to think one
Mm-hmm.
more time about the verbs. You were saying, right? Do you think someone right in the country? And then you mentioned the last part with cancer. So what are the verbs that are connecting those ideas one more time?
Well, I forgot. Do you think do you think
Huh?
if I, I don't know. Do you think if somebody in the country um I don't know. I forgot.
You were saying you were doing good, right? You can say, do you think that someone, right? You were saying that. Do you think that someone in the country, and then you were saying something with let's, and at the end with cancer. So that connection was not that clear. You can give me again if you are not sure. You can give me your idea in Spanish, and I can help you out, or try to find a way. What do you think? Well, how could
So
the question be?
country will
Okay. Uh huh.
will make. will descubrir, I don't know what,
Discover.
discover the cure of the cancer?
Okay,
Will.
yes.
Okay.
Will in the first part is good. Do you think that someone in the country will discover the cure for the cancer or for cancer? Good. Yes, I think it's great, right? And I don't know, right? Perhaps someone that was born in Bolivia and that went to a different country, right, to work in these labs over there could be, right? So I think that it's possible that a Bolivian can find, right, and discover the cure from cancer. But I don't believe that that could happen in Bolivia because we don't have the material and the resources, right, to do that type of research. Okay, but good again. So I can say that yes, I think that someone from Bolivia can do it, but if that person is doing research abroad, right, in a country where they have the material and resources to do that research. Great. One more, please, Leandro. The last question.
Okay, and do you know somewhere to go to Holy Week vacations? For Holy Week vacations?
Good. Yes, and in that, if you feel that it's more like a real question that you don't really know the answer, instead of a somewhere, you can change that to anywhere, right? And it's going to be
Okay.
even better in that case. So good. So I'm going to reformulate. It will be right. Do you know anywhere that you can go to you're talking about Holy Week vacations, like the the Holy Week that we have on what dates? What type of holiday are you talking about?
De Semana Santa. I don't
Okay,
know
okay,
what
yes.
is in English.
Yeah, it's okay. You can call it the Holy Week. It's good.
Holy
So,
Week.
actually, I don't know anywhere, all right? I don't know anywhere where it will be a good idea to go. I'm going to do some research to find that myself. Okay, so good. So in this case, we used anywhere in the question and we used anywhere in a negative idea, right? And that's how we use it. So there you go. That's it in general. And with this, I believe, as you are answering the questions, as you were practicing, I think you got this. It's just what you said, just practicing on your own to reinforce the knowledge. But on my side, I believe that that's what we can do. So we're going to be finishing here. Again, the last recommendations, remember that today, 11:59 p.m. is the due date for you to finish everything, the assignments and the final test. And that tomorrow, again, we're going to start a new, everything, a new course with everything new. And tomorrow is going to be to join the new course, to join the new platform, actually the same platform, but the new course, so I can give you the new assignments and we're going to work in the same way. But once again, that's it. I believe that if you have questions, please, one more time, let me know. But in the meantime, I'm going to send the usual survey plus one extra one that is for the final day for this course. All right, so that's the first one.
Okay. I have one question. Where
Yes.
is where is the test of the model in person?
Yeah, on Pearson. It's on the
On
same
Pearson.
place. It's also over there in the assignment section. It should be the last assignment for you. It says
Okay.
model test. It's the same actually as the other ones, right? I don't know if you can see it
Okay.
over here.
Because I have only one test. It's right now, or
Yes,
I
that's
have
the one.
to do two.
No,
No?
only one, because you don't
Okay.
have you don't have the quiz number 4. Okay, so you
Mm-hmm.
don't have quiz number 4. So it was 3 quizzes and 1 final exam. So what
Okay.
you have is the final exam. Only complete that one.
Okay.
All right, good. So this is the last one, please. One more survey, and this is just for today's final activities for this course. All right, and that's it then,
Done.
Leandro. again, if you have some things left, good luck working with that. I'm sure you're going to do it greatly. So I'm going to be, well, seeing you tomorrow to start with a new course. All right?
Okay.
Perfect. Have a good night
Bye.
and see you tomorrow.
Have a
Bye
good
bye.
night. See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you.